Welcome to Mr. Dukovsky's class. You can fill in the blank. Regardless of which subject you're taking, the purpose of this video is to let you know that you're in for a very different experience this year. Welcome to Mr. Dukovsky's flipped class. Over the past few years, I've noticed that my students struggle more and more with math concepts. While I believe there are many reasons for this, it is my job as an educator to find a way to reach my students and help them to be successful both in my class and in the future. I've tried many different things over the years with some success, but that is not good enough for me. I realized that I was rolling a rock uphill and trying to do it by myself. The flipped classroom model encourages and requires students to take responsibility for their own learning. When this happens, I am no longer toiling by myself. I have an entire classroom community to help me. I realize that the students feel the same way I do, like they are tackling a Herculean task by themselves with no support. We're going to fix this. Before I can describe the flipped classroom, I need to talk about the issues with the traditional model. Under the traditional classroom, students spend 10 to 15 minutes in class asking questions about the previous assignment. Generally, it's the same few students every day that ask questions. The others never ask for help because they are either disengaged, intimidated, or just too frustrated to know what to ask for first. Next, they sit and listen to me present the next topic for the next 30 minutes or so, all the while struggling to pay attention and take notes. In doing so, they miss things I say. Many are also distracted by noise around them, worrying about homework or tests in other classes, or just trying not to fall asleep in class. Who decided that any particular time was the optimal time for teenagers to learn math anyway? If they're lucky, they get 10 minutes to start their work, which is the last thing that they want to do after all of this. After repeating this 5 times a day, every day, they go home. Some get to start their work right away, while many don't get home until late because of sports or their work schedule. So now they finally sit down and take out their notes, which often make little or no sense as there are holes and gaps in them. Or they just don't remember what they really mean. Now they try the problems. Their notes aren't helping, the book doesn't help, and let's face it, most parents just don't remember this stuff either. The students then struggle on their own with no support. They get frustrated and either struggle for hours, completely give up, or just fill in a bunch of fluff to make it look like they did their work. The problem is there is really no learning going on here, just frustration. This isn't good for anyone, and their grades certainly go down. Now throw in missed days due to illnesses or sporting events, and now the students don't even have notes to look at all. Good luck with that. Enter the flipped classroom. What flips is how home time and classroom time are used. My students don't need to sit every day in an uncomfortable desk and watch me rush to deliver a lecture so we can get a few minutes of actual learning. They need me to help them as they actually struggle to apply the concepts. So they will now get my lesson at home. I record my lessons in video form and post them on my website. I have a calendar page that always tells you what video to watch for the next day so that there's never any confusion. So the students go home and watch the lecture when they are ready to do so, not when I am forced to give it. Unlike the real me, the video me can be paused, rewound, or even fast-forwarded to fit each student's needs. They now get to learn at their own pace. They still take notes and will also include a brief summary of what they learned and will write at least one thoughtful question about the video. Because the videos are always there, they can watch when they are ready to learn. Those that work can take some paper and watch the lesson on their phones, on their dinner break or their lunch break or whatever it happens to be if they so choose, and many do. The control is now theirs, not mine. This is the first step to taking responsibility for their own learning. The next day, they will bring their notes and questions to class. We will start with a 2-question quiz to check their understanding. The first question is an exact example from the video which they can use their notes for. The second is related and gives me a chance to clear up a few misconceptions in person before they start the assignment. They will then work on the exercises either by themselves or in various different groups. Either way, they are surrounded by help resources. First, they have me. I run around all period helping students who need me. I'm here to guide them through the material and the learning process. The best part of this is that I now get to interact with every one of my students every single day. That never ever happened under the traditional model. I get to know them as people, not just names on a roster. I learn how they learn and use that to help guide them. In addition, they learn that every student in class is also a resource for them. Students helping students is the best way to learn. They understand one another in a completely different way than they understand me. Also, explaining something to another person helps solidify your own understanding. It's a win-win situation. By using the flip model, we can recapture our class time and use it to help lessen the frustration of learning math, and at the same time, we can dive into activities designed to deepen students' understanding of the concepts. Oh, and since the assignments are designed to be done in class, I boil them down to the important problems. No endless drill and kill. So instead of sitting in class for an hour and then struggling at home for an hour or more on the assignment and getting little from it, Students now watch a 10 to 15-minute video. I try to keep them to that length whenever possible. And then have fewer problems to do for practice. Oh, here's the kicker. When I did this last year, student grades increased substantially. My students were happier, their parents were happier, they spent less time, they learned more deeply, they interacted with myself and other students more, and saw their grades come up. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video introduction with your student or parent. I highly encourage your family to do this from time to time. It's a good way for you to stay connected to each other as well as to the class. Embedded below the video on the homepage is a short survey for you to fill out together. Please take a few minutes to do so. Also, feel free to email me anytime with questions or comments about our class. I take all input seriously and implement suggestions that I feel will add to student learning. Thanks again. I know we will have an awesome year.
Created using Powtoon.